Hi everyone and welcome back to Investigative Selfism. It's the second episode of the second season. I'm very excited, and as I'm recording this, it's the end of the year. This comment will make my episode very outdated very quickly. I understand that, but I was thinking, what would be the message that I myself would like to wake up to the very last day of the year, or the beginning of any year, or honestly, any day? What are the reminders that I would like to give to myself, once in a while at least? And I know that this is what my podcast has been. I hope that it has been one big reminder for you too, not just for myself. And having said that, I do want to talk about a topic that is kind of uncool, or well, in my head it's very cool actually, but it's also not easy to sell. So I'm glad that I'm not really selling anything here. But that topic is the umbrella topic of my whole second season, with an exception of a couple of lighter episodes, and that is discomfort. I've mentioned that in my intro episode, that when I look back on my episodes of the first season and the articles that have my website, they all kind of fall under the same umbrella. You know, making new habits, that can be uncomfortable. Talking more kindly to yourself, that can be uncomfortable. Quitting something, that can be extremely uncomfortable. So discomfort has been already a big theme in what I've been producing, and I thought, you know what, it will be the theme of the second season. And in this episode, I wanted to give you several reminders, something that can serve as a framework, as just honestly a good idea to keep in mind. And it's something that honestly I hope that will inspire you to take some action, to be on a path that is actually good for you. But I wanted to start very quickly with my own story and why I think discomfort is such a big deal, why it's a good concept to keep in mind. And that story, I'm just going to squeeze it into literally a paragraph. It's very simple. I've been moving around quite a lot, going from place to place, from country to country, switching continents quite often in my life. And that's very exciting. There are certain experiences that I seek in my life that I'm getting by doing that, and I'm very grateful. Life's good. I'm not going to complain about that. That would be very arrogant. But I realize at some point, I can be going from a place to place, go to a nice place, a place with the beach, an exciting city, or something that's very calm and serene. And I'd be meeting wonderful people and, making new friends, and starting maybe some other kinds of relationships. And I'm not going to say, so what? But it's, in a really bad way, it's almost a so what when I look at how I am and I realize that I am bringing the same old people-pleasing, my codependent tendencies, my inability to express my own needs, because probably I don't think they're valid even. I'm bringing the same shitty limiting beliefs to everywhere I go. And I go to a new place and I say, look at me, I only have one suitcase. That's really cool. I'm not really accumulating things. That's nice. And what is in that other suitcase? It's scary to unpack. But if I don't unpack it, I will be bringing it to any new place that I go to. Because I have been. If I'm not unpacking it, it stays. It doesn't just disappear somehow magically. It requires a lot of uncomfortable action, a lot of discomfort really. So that's a very quick version of my story. And I want to proceed by saying that, time is passing anyways. That quote when you're about to do something, but you're not sure because it might take a long time. Maybe it's a study program, maybe some kind of a professional thing. I really like that quote. It just says, time will pass anyways. If something takes 4 years or 2 years or 5, those years will be passing. So time will pass anyways. And we're all on some kind of a path. So we either really learn new tools, we learn about new frameworks, we learn about sort of what happened to us and how to unpack it. So we either learn that and gain that knowledge and practices, more importantly, that would help us lead healthier lives, or we continue bringing that heavy, heavy suitcase with us, even to places that are beautiful and wonderful and serene or exciting. So I don't want to keep on bringing my suitcase. And I don't want anyone to be bringing that suitcase either. It doesn't serve anyone. When you think about it, even to the people you don't like, you don't wish them to be miserable and to continue being horrible, insecure, angry, fearful, just unkind people. You don't want that shitty suitcase for anyone. So that's why I think we have to normalize discomfort. It sounds really not nice, I know. But I think we have to take it even further. Sometimes we have to choose it. Because sometimes we even know what the alternative is. We know if we don't work on something, how we'll feel, what will continue, and what will not happen. And I want to give you 3 more reminders, quotes, just something that might benefit you in a way. 1, I will rephrase a quote that I saw very recently, and it says simply, we have to understand that even decisions that are good for us, they're good for our well-being, good for our mental health, even they can be uncomfortable. And I think it's so true. And sometimes I think it's easy to mistake in that dis-ease or discomfort with, well, I shouldn't be doing that because look, I'm not feeling well, or it's difficult and, it shouldn't be difficult. Yeah, I think some things shouldn't be difficult, but isn't it weird that even things that are good for us, sometimes they're really, really, really uncomfortable? The second thing is, another thing we have to admit, that there will be some discomfort in our lives in any case. For example, if I make a decision that's sort of easier, so to speak, maybe I'm not having a hard conversation, maybe I'm just not addressing something. It's like, oh, I don't have to, okay, cool. But then I'm not acting according to my principles. So my discomfort is not acting with integrity. And the other way around, it's hard by default to have a hard conversation. But if I don't have it, then I'll continue living a life that's maybe a little bit of a lie. Or maybe I'm just not being honest with someone who deserves, well, everyone deserves that honesty, but especially some people that are dear to us, I would say. So the discomfort would be in the hard conversation, but the ease will be in you knowing that you're doing the right thing, so to speak. So we have to, as I've said in my previous episode with more quotes and reminders, that we have to choose our discomforts wisely. And the last thing I wanted to tell you, because I really like quotes, and I will be sharing quotes in any format that I can. Is it an Instagram post? Is it my blog? Will I put it now here in my podcast episode? Oh, yes. And it's a beautiful quote by a Buddhist monk. He was a Buddhist monk and a mindfulness teacher, Ajahn Chah. Okay, I know him because he was the teacher of Jack Kornfield, who I love and always talk about, and inevitably I mention him now as well. So it's a very simple quote by Ajahn Chah, and it goes like this. There are 2 kinds of suffering. There's the suffering you run away from, which follows you everywhere. And there's the suffering you face directly, and in doing so, become free. So today, this year, next year, this week, next month, whenever you're listening to this, I invite you and myself, very much myself, not only to choose our discomforts wisely, but also, instead of running away from our suffering and carrying that suitcase, which is not a great metaphor, I know it's very overused. So we either run away from that suffering, or we face it, we choose that discomfort, and we say that I am capable to learn new tools, to discover new frameworks, to dive more deeply into that self-knowledge, into all of these amazing disciplines that can really help us learn and unlearn things, that explain sometimes why we are the way we are, that allows us to hold that with a little bit more empathy, and then to move forward. And the moving forward is not always very comfortable, but where else, if not forward, then should we choose to move? So thank you for being on this weird, crazy, sometimes boring, sometimes so exciting, sometimes sad, sometimes joyful, hopefully more joyful than sad, journey. I hope you stick around. Have a great end of year, have a great beginning of the new year, or just have a beautiful, meaningful day whenever it is you're listening to this episode. And I'll see you soon.